Northern Illinois is filled with important Black history. Nearly 200 years ago, a secret path to freedom was right here in the state line. Let's take you to Byron, Illinois, where a house still standing today was a stop on the Underground Railroad. Centuries of Black history in plain sight right in our community.
The house today is on the corner of Route 2 and Route 72.
The Reed House served as a route to freedom for Black people trying to escape slavery.
They came from Missouri and then jumped across the river and then worked their way toward the Chicago-Milwaukee area. And so Byron is on the very northern part of that. That was called the Northern Illinois Route.
Freedom seekers making the trek by way of the Underground Railroad.
A lot of people think the Underground Railroad was involved with secret rooms and tunnels.
It wasn't an actual railroad, but instead something even more remarkable and life-changing as we know it today.
A lot of the seekers would follow the Rock River up through Dixon into Ogle County and past Byron, so it was a natural place to stop.
The Underground Railroad was an organized secret network to freedom. The system even used railroading terms. Homes and businesses where Black people would rest and eat were called stations and depots, and the conductor was responsible for moving them from one station to the next.
This was a real thing. It really did happen, and we have specific proof about it.
Enslaved Black people traveling from the violence of their plantations to seek safety in northern cities.
Church members would get together at night and figure this out. They would contact the people in, say, Polo, and say, send a message ahead saying, I am sending 3 packages tomorrow to arrive, 2 large crates and 1 small crate. Well, of course, that meant people.
In Byron, Lucius Reed's house provided sanctuary for escaping slaves.
The Reeds, like most congregational church members, were anti-slavery, and they were willing to risk breaking federal law to assist those passengers that came through.
The law at the time was the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850. It required slaves be returned to their owners even if they were in a free state. The Reed family going against the grain, helping them hide, but it wasn't easy.
The slave catchers weren't stupid. They would pose as conductors, somebody who would help, when in reality they were to trap them. There was trickery on both sides.
That's why secret codes were so necessary.
For instance, if you were in Missouri and you were looking for a place to cross the Mississippi River, you wouldn't say that. You would say, we're looking to cross the River Jordan. Because that could be something you heard in the sermon last week. You'd say, we want to arrive in the land of Canaan. That's code for Canada. And there was a whole lot of other code words along with that.
Once freedom seekers made it to Byron, families like the Reeds would use every part of their home as a safe haven.
It's one of the oldest brick houses. It's 2 stories. It's a very, very typical, and it has a cellar. That cellar, back in the slave days, was entered secretly from the backyard of the Reed House.
On the destination to freedom, Black escapees and conductors always had to stay one step ahead.
Somewhere along the route, if it didn't happen before Byron, somebody would have to create false documents for them, because every Black person, free or slave, had to carry papers to show their status.
Dan Wykes, an educator with the Byron Museum, says freedom seekers came from Polo to Byron and then to Lindenwood, Illinois. But some places, even up north, weren't safe.
They would skip Mount Morris because that's kind of on the route, because Mount Morris was founded by people from Maryland, which is a slave state. And so they couldn't be sure of the politics of the people in Mount Morris.
The Underground Railroad had many notable participants, but the freedom seekers were the real heroes, risking their lives for a better tomorrow and exposing the grim realities of slavery.
There's where the real bravery was. For a white conductor, yes, they were at risk legally, but their life wasn't at risk. But as a traveling freedom seeker, you were at risk the entire time.